Exciting news, my darklings. There's a brand new 3-part series that begins airing. Bigfoot Took Her reinvestigates one of history's strangest missing persons cases. When teenager Teresa Beer mysteriously vanished in California's Sierra National Forest in 1987, a surprising suspect emerged: Bigfoot. Now, investigator Jessica Chobot and 29-year LAPD veteran Robert Collier, words is hard, folks, even at this time of night, they reopen one of the most bizarre missing persons cases in modern history in hopes of bringing closure to Teresa's unsolved disappearance. Bigfoot Took Her, a 3-part limited series, premieres with back-to-back episodes Wednesday, October 29th, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Discovery Channel. Investigator Jessica Chobot, our guest, when we return right here to the Paranormal 60.
I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this baloney. He won't float. He doesn't stand for baloney.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Oh, this is going to be a good one, friends. I love when we can talk about Bigfoot. First of all, because it is one of the weirdest kind of aspects of the paranormal. And when we can talk about possibilities of ghostly, phantom, interdimensional Bigfoot, always fascinating. But a killer Bigfoot? An abducting Bigfoot? I mean, we've heard stories on the fringe, but is there any possibility that could be true and that crimes that happen in the woods aren't just the hands of man being blamed on something else? We may never know, but thank God there is somebody out there who is taking this serious, who is investigating these type of claims, and we have her tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Chobot. Jessica, welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you.
Let's, if you don't mind, let's pop on the trailer and give people a chance to see a little bit of this for themselves. And I think this looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see it. For people that love true crime and the strange and supernatural, this is your show. Yeah, folks, it's one of those nights, huh?
Breaking news out of Fresno today. A 16-year-old girl is missing. And the man she was last seen with says Bigfoot might be to blame.
I've been obsessed with the Teresa Beer case for decades. And I believe she deserves to be more than just a headline.
I really feel that we can solve this thing. A good investigator will look at every angle and piece everything together like a puzzle.
I want to know if she's still out there. It's like, where's my sister?
Teresa Beer is one of the possible victims of the speed freak killers.
Wait, what? There's all these human suspects, but the town took Bigfoot's involvement really seriously, and I want to know why.
If you guys are going to go deeper into this, it's going to get weird.
What were your thoughts when you heard that Teresa went missing?
The son of a bitch killed her.
The man was evil. Period.
Look at the town we're in. People out here truly believe Bigfoot exists. Wait. I saw something move up there.
A lot of things are not adding up.
He was screaming at everyone to stop while they were digging up the yard.
I could be in the basement with Teresa. Holy I found bones!
In my 29 years of police work, I have never seen anything like this case.
If you had to choose...
Jessica, this looks freaky, bizarre, unusual. You've got so many different things, and I don't know what's going on with the show tonight, but anything that can go off is going off. Videos firing off on their own, commercial breaks in the middle of a a trailer. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's the spirits.
It is the
reaching
spirits.
out.
I'd like to blame them for this.
Mhm.
Let's dive into this. First of all, a lot of people, including myself, which I feel remiss now. I've been writing a book for the last year on true crimes that have a weird paranormal slant, and you would have thought a Bigfoot abduction and possible murder would have crossed my path, but this story's still so fringe for many of us. How could a story this big not be known on a much broader scale?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that it happened. I mean, not to us because of our age, but maybe be like to others so long ago, you know? I think maybe part of that is because it happened in the 80s and because of things in pop culture right now. I'm thinking specifically just off the top of my head, like things of the nature of like Stranger Things and whatnot is kind of like refocused a light back onto paranormal in the 80s specifically, that maybe that's kind of subconsciously the first place that somebody that's doing current research now would happen to look, where you wouldn't have done that necessarily previous to this. I also think true crime at this point is, for lack of a better phrase, and I feel bad for saying it like this, but I don't know how else to say it, is so popular that the high rate of turnover for stories, because you always do want something new, pushes older stories kind of to the back. And so you really need to make a concerted effort to kind of like really do some deep digging sometimes, because eventually these things do get lost in the shuffle, whether you mean to or not. It's just one of those things that kind of, sometimes it just, there's just so much out there, especially now. I think it's hard to kind of keep track of it all.
Prior to investigating this case, what were your thoughts on the concept of Bigfoot to begin with?
So for me, and I'm going to even extend this to cryptids in general, specifically when I was working on EXX, cryptids are always tough. It's so funny you bring this up because Mariah and I just recently had a conversation about this, where cryptids are a little tough because I do think it's a combination. They can be potentially a combination of things. Sorry, my kids are screaming in the background in case anybody's hearing that. I have a bunch of children.
Is it a Bigfoot? Is he trying to take your children?
There's a vacation going on right now, and my room is right next to my child's.
That's right.
But it's usually a kind of a potentially a combo where the cryptid is a misidentified animal. So therefore the animal is real. You just don't have actual like solid evidence of that yet. So when people say they see a cryptid, technically they are being truthful because they're seeing this thing that they just can't identify. And then and whether it's misidentified or just like when we were doing the show, somebody's exotic pet had basically gotten out, and people were calling it this cryptid that was running through the fields. And then right after we wrapped the show, about a couple months later, they ended up truly finding this animal, this Black Panther, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while. And so, yeah, I mean, cryptids are really, so in regards to Bigfoot, I'm kind of talking all over the place here, but in regards to Bigfoot, I also feel that could be a thing. Is it a misidentified animal, or an animal that we just haven't identified yet? So when people say they see Bigfoot, yeah, they truly are. They're labeling what has not been identified yet as Bigfoot. And then you get caught up into the mythos. Okay, well, where the mythos comes in around it, or the folklore, and it's like, well, yeah, because stories build around things you can't explain. So none of this is technically not true. It's following the steps that people always follow in order to explain something they don't understand. And there's always a kernel of truth. And that's how I approach all of the things that I investigate. There's always a kernel of truth, some sort of history, something that was left behind, something that was misidentified, a little bit of a story. There's always something there that the myth grows out of. So when you say you're investigating, you're trying to find the kernel. For me, at least, I try to find the kernel of truth rather than like debunk or like show, like,
Right.
oh, we found Bigfoot. I don't know, maybe, like, who's to, I'm
But
not
do you
sure,
believe
but
that there is a giant bipedal, hairy, man-like creature that stalks the woods?
I don't believe that there's as many as people say there are. I mean,
Are you running for
every
politics, Jessica?
every single state seems to have one.
Right.
I mean, they're all over the place. But then, so this is where I myself get frustrated with myself, because I'm like, that's way too many. There's no way that there could but then I think, well, maybe they're moving because, maybe they just constantly move around. They're like, they bounce around. They're just constantly traversing, and it's not even about following the food source. Maybe it's just avoiding other people's eyes so that they don't get found. I always am contradicting myself, and I catch myself up in these loops of explanation for myself, which makes my brain an absolutely horrible place to exist in and really, really hard to do my job. But I think there's the possibility that something is out there that could be defined as what people are seeing as Bigfoot. I don't know if there's that many, but yeah, who's to say? I can't. I truly don't know. Mariah would be better to ask that. Cryptids is cryptids.
Right, but you're on tonight, and you're a part of a big show that has Bigfoot
cryptids are
involved.
always a hard one for me, because I always feel like, yeah, you could explain it. And this is where Phil and I would bump heads on the show, is like, because he's, obviously we lean into our particular roles more for TV, but he's a scientist, and he, he's of the nature where, yeah, if the food source is there, there's something could be. And while I do love my paranormal weird side of things, I'm also like, well, yeah, that's true. I believe you, Phil. I don't know.
Well, do me a favor and set the stage a little bit. Let's go back to 1987.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? 38 years ago. I just celebrated my 40th high school reunion from 1985. Ooh. So yeah, 38 years ago, this strange case really unfurled. So can you take us back then and tell us a little bit about the players, what happened, and how we jumped from a missing person to the fact that perhaps it was Bigfoot that took her?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say too much, obviously, because the show hasn't aired, so I don't want to give it away, and also I don't want to get in trouble. But it was kind of the perfect storm of pop culture meets this like tragedy, where like Bigfoot was kind of on everybody's mind, because Harry and the Hendersons had just come out and was blowing up. I mean, I remember going to the drive-in and seeing that thing like 4 times in a row. It was literally that, and like I think they were doing another show of gosh, what was it? Roger Rabbit, back to back. So, but Harry and the Hendersons was big, super big back then. And this girl, Teresa Beer, she was a teenager. She had a really tough home life, like tough. And I think she wanted to have an adventure away from her house, this like rough life that they were living and that she was kind of having to deal with. And there was a local guy who said he would take her, that everybody knew that he was he was like the Bigfoot guy. He was the one that would take people to try and go and find it or track it. He himself said he had multiple experiences running into them. She goes up and goes missing, and he's questioned, and he says that Bigfoot took her. And the police took that somewhat seriously.
Which is really pretty telling and compelling, right? I mean, were we that innocent in 1987 that, well, oh, sure, Bigfoot, this is a known area for Bigfoot. That seems to make sense. I mean, that's what stands out to me from this, is how strange that whole element is that you've got a missing person, a crime has taken place, whether it's Bigfoot or not, but to just kind of, as the police look at something and go, yeah, that seems to fit the mold, at least at the beginning,
Yeah.
as a potential, because you would think in today's environment, somebody comes up to you and says, Bigfoot took her, the initial thought process is going to be, I think we need to talk to you a little bit longer in here, right? And kind of begin that process.
Yeah. Well, we do get into that in the show because, I mean, there were specific reasons why the police let his excuse breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And we get into that. There was also, gosh, this is really a hard dance to dance around. Like, how do I talk about this without giving it all away? So
Don't worry, it's just me and half of the universe watching this program. Nobody's going to talk about it, Jessica.
There was we get into that. There's reasons why the police specifically let it breathe, and we're like, yeah, okay, not like yeah, okay, but yeah, okay. And but to flip that on its head a little bit, there were also legitimate sightings in that area as well. And there were other people that had been with the Bigfoot guy that also claimed to have seen sightings. So it was this, yeah, like I said, it was like the perfect storm of pop culture, of this guy, other people's experiences, the location that they were in. It's a town that's just outside of Yosemite. So the landscape does lead to that being an area where a Bigfoot could potentially survive. There's the local lore. There's the Native American lore in that area as well. It all is, for lack of a better phrase, I feel like I say this all the time, but it was kind of like a bit of a hot spot. And so it kind of lends itself to take like some actual credence to that story that he was trying to give the police. But yeah, we
well, 38 years to go this span of time, 38 years.
Well, of course, once he said that, so he says this, right? And of course, the newspapers, because media is what media is, took it and ran with it like hard. So I think that's part of it is as well. You know, like you get the
salacious clickbait of 1987, right?
Yeah, essentially, yes, that's exactly what you get. And that's kind of what happened. It's just that in this particular case, there might have been a bit of truth behind it, which made it really unique. And, you know, for me, and one of the things that Robert, my co-host, and I bring up, I don't know if it makes the cut or not, but we were like, gosh, you know, it's really frustrating because here's a girl who truly, yeah, like, I mean, it came to a horrible ending. So tragic. And yeah, it was the clickbait of the 80s, but it's also in a weird way what keeps the story alive, because we're talking about it now. And so now we're reinvestigating it, and you never know what else you might find. So it's that kind of push and pull between, you want to be respectful, but you also want to investigate, and then going there and meeting her family members and seeing the pain in their eyes and the fact that these are real people. Because I mean, when you listen to these types of podcasts or watch these types of shows, you know, you're so many removed, especially when they did happen long ago, that to be able to have that FaceTime with people that actually affected, it totally really cements to you just how awful this whole situation was. So yeah, it was an interesting thing to try and balance and work through.
Going back that far, 38 years, when you're going to reinvestigate a case like this, just give people a perspective. I mean, today we're a little spoiled because there's such a beautiful archive of history and information that's been saved online that we can all look this up from the comfort of our own home, or at least as much as we can. But when you decide to tackle a 38-year-old case, I mean, you had to be running into roadblocks of people still not wanting to talk about it. memories have twisted through time, and the narrative has been shaped by so many people as to what took place. How do you start to separate the garbage from the reality and get to a place that feels like you're kind of balancing nicely between both?
Yeah. Well, that's where having Rob was really helpful, because he is a previous LAPD officer that specifically focused on children's cases. And so he was really good in teaching me, because obviously that is not a realm that I have experienced too much. He was really good at teaching me how to look at things kind of objectively and removed from the situation, and how to double check your info. So we were able to get our hands on a lot of the information from old police reports. Rob was absolutely helpful in that. And then we did a lot of re-interviewing as well with the family members, and would track not only what they were currently saying, but also how that would compare with what the interviews they gave to police previously back in the 80s were. And there were some surprises. To your point, yes, it is hard to remember, for a lot of folks to remember that far back. And I don't think it's necessarily that anyone's lying. I truly do think that, yeah, you just start losing track of what happened, or what you said, or what you didn't say, and why.
And sometimes when you've heard a lie that many times and it's been told and told and told, it becomes the truth for a lot of people, right?
That's a possibility as well. I mean, this whole thing had and then on top of it, this had a lot of twists and turns. I had never known about the angle of the speed freak killers until we got there and had that one interview. And then that took a whole that one I'm saving. I'm not going to tell you too much about that one, because that one took a whole, that one was a tough day. That one was a tough day. Yeah. That one was a hard day.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more with Jessica. Again, there's a link on today's program guide for Bigfoot Took Her, and you can watch the trailer as well. Also, don't forget, make sure you mark it and watch it. It's going to be on October 29th. And again, my friends, if you want more programming like this, then let me remind you the importance of how to watch TV. Many of you want to binge watch an entire series after it airs, and then you get to it 6 months later. That doesn't help your favorite shows. The ratings count within the first 24 to 48 hours. And you want to binge it? Perfect, because they're going to show all 3 parts on the same night, so you can binge it all at once. But if you do record it, please watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours. If you can't watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours, put it on in the background while you're washing dishes, mowing the lawn, taking the kids for a walk, so that it counts towards the viewership, and then come back and watch it when you have the time to sit down and do that. That's how you save your favorite shows. We'll be back.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm here to educate. Yeah, I'm just here to educate. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll do that right after this.
A vampire in Rhode Island?
A UFO crash in Connecticut?
A flying moose in Maine?
A haunted bridge that calls your name?
New England is weird.
Really weird.
Wicked Strange by Jeff Belanger and Frank Grace is your ticket to the bizarre. Ghosts, monsters, urban legends, and roadside oddities you won't believe until you see them.
So pre-order now on Amazon. It drops September 2nd.
Assuming the Black Dog of West Peak doesn't get you first.
Let's get strange.
Wicked Strange. Pre-order your copy now on Amazon.
Welcome back to the program. There's a new 3-part series, Bigfoot Took Her, that reinvestigates one of history's strangest missing persons cases. This series will air in its entirety, back-to-back episodes, Wednesday, October 29th, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain. And for you on the Pacific side of the world, it'll also be, I believe, 8 o'clock your time. So they're rerunning it that way. So make sure you check it out. Bigfoot Took Her. Jessica Chobot, our guest this evening. And I like the fact that it would be easy to just lean into the high strangeness of this and never even really talk about the humanity and who may be behind this. But I love the fact that you guys don't just buy into the Bigfoot, undeniably that it had to be that you do examine the fact that there's a lot of human potential for what took place in this. Is it strange to you to see that you've got a town that's more willing to accept the fact that Bigfoot took and murdered somebody than to realize that maybe within the confines of their community, a killer walks amongst them?
Well, like I don't like I said, we looked into that and I think people let it breathe for a reason. Oh my gosh, I wish we were talking about this afterwards because then I have like so much I want to say. I think the town, do I think everybody believed that Bigfoot actually had some sort of involvement with this? Of course not. But the fact that it was even proposed and even left to breathe, I thought was very interesting instead of just a hard no. And me personally, I'm not going to speak for anybody else on this one, but me personally, going to that location where she supposedly disappeared or where she supposedly was taken, it is a weird spot. It's got weird vibes. It's one of those places where you absolutely feel like the forest is watching you. Like there's places you go to, or at least that I've gone to in all of these different investigations that I've been on, where it's either you're in the forest and it feels like something is watching you, or you're in the forest and it feels like the forest is watching you, and that the forest is going to decide whether it likes you or not. And that's going to determine what kind of experience you have out there. And that is what it felt like to me when she was there. And this is a place where it is hard to get to, but it's not impossible. So other people have been to this area before throughout however many decades. And it seems to be the general consensus that this is a very odd spot. So for people that did believe, that were from the town, that did believe that maybe Bigfoot had some involvement in this, like truly, I don't blame them for thinking that, because it does have some weird vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, right? I think it's telling. This is why I love people's stories and why they believe the things they believe. I think that's just as telling as sometimes real experiences, right? Is hearing why a person's in this mindset. But when you're in a community where your neighbor could be a killer or somebody that abducts people, I think I understand. I would rather believe it's some monster. That's why we're always looking to point our fingers at something that, well, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a creature of the wilderness, this mysterious creature. Because if you don't, kind of the scariest aspect is, then that means if it wasn't Bigfoot, oh shit, there's something here in our community.
Well, and that's where it gets weird too, because we also, if I'm remembering correctly, because we shot this a year ago, so even my memory is a little off, but if I remember correctly, there was a point where we both said, well, what if this is a combo of the things? And I think that can also be applied to potentially some of the town folk that did maybe believe a little bit more into the fact that maybe Bigfoot had involvement. Is this guy kept saying that he saw Bigfoot up there and he was interacting with them and he went up there all the time and they began to trust him and this, that, and the other thing. And like other folks above and beyond him also said that they had their experiences. So there could have been the possibility where maybe both were involved. He did take them up there. He set them up. He set her up for a potential failure. She was new to the area. He'd been going for so long. I mean, it depends on your point of view in regards to what Bigfoot actually is. But if it is just an animal and you're trespassing on its location, what do animals usually do? They defend their location. And so, like, did he set her up? Did he do this on purpose? So then at that point, who do you blame? The killer is involved. So then maybe you've got both. Maybe you've got both things in this location. So that's something we kind of looked into as well, is like, what what was the objective of this man and why would he take her here? And yeah, it's
icky, right? People, we always joke around about it, the fact that it's not the dead that scare me, it's the living. But that's
absolutely.
Now, you're out there walking these woods where people have gone missing before, where this young girl went missing and ended tragically. If there's a killer Bigfoot out in the woods, did you ever have any concern for your own safety to be out there walking around in this environment and poking a bear that maybe is best left alone?
I wasn't so much worried about the animals and or Bigfoot. I was actually more concerned. I mean, that's always in the back of your mind, no matter what. But in general, I was more concerned with the actual lay of the land. That area is really difficult to traverse. There are absolutely hundreds of unmarked and or lightly covered over mining pits and old caves, which is automatically like, oof, not great. Not great to be running around on. There was one point, you'll see it in the show, where we ended up going off trail and it turned out to be a very bad idea. And I got really pissed off. So that I think makes the cut. But because it was really, really dangerous. I mean, there was one point where I actually was shaking so hard because we had been climbing for so long and I was so tired. And I'm also just personally afraid of heights, like very badly, that I needed Rob to help me get through it and to climb it. It was such a dangerous location. And so then that starts making you think, well, did she fall into one of these pits? Was it an accident that got covered up, or was it on purpose? Like, there's just so many possibilities. And is she not being found because she was actually taken, or was she not being found because now, like, look at this wilderness. Like, how are you going to find anything in here? I mean, we were out in the middle of nowhere. It was a hard area to be around. And then if you think, okay, well, so let's put ourselves in her shoes. Let's say you get hurt and you get stuck out there. Well, then that's when you start worrying about the animals, right? Because now you're out there by yourself in the middle of the night when all of the night animals start coming around. And it's just like, So it could be, I wasn't the Bigfoot and other animals in the location were not at the forefront of my mind. I've also done enough of these that I feel like, and by these, I mean in other night investigations out in the wilderness where, we've been surrounded by wolves, we've been surrounded by coyotes, we've done Bigfoot stuff, we've done other cryptids as well. The Black Panther that we were searching for at one point. I had to massage a snake once to try and make it poop it's a whole thing. So that's a separate, if you want me back, we can talk about that one.
I don't know if that fits under our umbrella of weirdness, but that definitely fits into
an anaconda to try and make it poop into it so that I could take a sample. It was a whole ball. Needless to say, I've been down that road. So I wasn't overly afraid, but I could see where if a person that hadn't had that kind of experience, it would be very, very frightening.
Unsettling, yeah.
I mean, and even when you are experienced, like there was a time where, not on this show, obviously, but on the other one that I used to work on, there was a time where, I'm with my group or with the whole crew, we got charged by a bear, and it was one of those things where I had to assess it was on an island. So we had come up on the shoreline and the bear charged. And I literally had to sit there and assess, like, I know I can make it back to the boat, but who am I shutting out? Like, who's so far?
Who's the weakest link?
That they're not going to make it back in time. I'm not holding that door open. So, and that's within seconds of me saying it's fair. So, I don't know. Maybe that says more about me than the situation. But
my proof. Again, folks, the dead don't scare me. It's the living. And Jessica Chobot is part of that. Well, this is what we're going to have to do, Jessica, is we're going to have you back after the series airs.
Oh.
I know you were all like, let's do this afterwards so I could talk about it. And I'm like, no, in order to promote your show, we need to talk about it before it airs so people know to go tune into the show, because unfortunately TV is not what it once was. And the promotion value is not out there as it once was as well. So I want this to be a successful series for you. The miniseries to be seen. So I do want to talk more about this when we can dive deeper in to the elements that you were able to uncover during the story. So we'll have to connect on that. Do you
I have so many good stories. I've got so many good stories from it. I really do want to. I do. I want to gossip about it so hard. So please have me back.
We will definitely do that. It airs October 29th. So make sure that you tune in and check it out, folks. And not only, again, don't just set it and forget it. You have to watch it within the first 24 to 48 hours. TV networks and executives want to see that first turn. Again, in rating, live view is their number one priority, then the 24 to 48 hour window. So if you can, turn it on, let it play in the background on the 29th. If you know you can't watch all of the episodes, let it play so that it's counting towards the marketing numbers, and then go back and watch it and see it in its entirety. But don't wait too long, because people are going to spoil it online, because that's what people do. People are horrible when it comes to TV shows and letting secrets out. So you're going to want to check that out. You've had a chance to travel the world and look for unusual and strange things. Before we let you go and jettison you from this story, and again, the project that we're talking about mainly tonight is the 3-part series Bigfoot Took Her, reinvestigating one of history's strangest missing person cases. It airs Wednesday, October 29th. All 3 parts will be back-to-back on Discovery Channel, so you're going to want to check that out for yourself. But before we go, you've had a chance to investigate all over. Was there ever a case, especially when it comes into the high strangeness category, that really still impacts you to this day? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Dave, you've heard this story. This is becoming the story that I tell everyone, because it really was probably the most extreme experience I feel like I've had. And that was out in Vernal, Utah, when I am pretty sure that I encountered a skinwalker and then it followed us back, us being my crew and myself and the other co-hosts. It followed us back to our hotels and messed with everybody at the hotel.
Messed with you how?
Do you want me to tell? It's a long story. Should I tell the story? I don't know.
Yes, tell the story. That's
okay,
what we're here
I don't know
for.
what.
This is it, baby. Share it with us. Let's go out with a bang.
So I'm going to try and do the truncated version, which I'm really bad at because I always end up talking too much. But so yeah, we were out in Vernal, we being the EXX crew. So it was me and Phil and our ground crew. And we were out there for UFOs, strictly for UFOs. There had been a couple sightings recently, and that's what we were focused on. But everybody we talked to kept bringing up skinwalkers. And then you can see it in the show. One woman in particular tells us about how she encountered one. And one of the ways, they always try to hitchhike. And one of the ways that you check, not that I would ever stop for hitchhikers in the first frickin' place, but whatever. One of the ways you could check if you felt like stopping is to look at their waist down, because they have a hard time adjusting their legs. And so what you'll see is hooves instead, and like hairy legs and whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, and we're hearing this, and we let these folks talk about it, even though we're thinking in the back of our minds, like, we're never going to use this. It's not UFOs, blah, 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 blah. Happened multiple times. We go to our location, which is right by the UFO camping ground in Vernal. Yeah, that's right. And we're searching for the UFOs, blah, blah, blah. We're getting some hits. Things are interesting, but we're not getting anything that great. And you know how this stuff goes. You're not going to go home until you get at least something that you can move forward on. So I'm like, Jesus, we're going to be out here all night. So I said, hey, Phil, let's get in it might not have been me. It might have been the director. Anyway, either way, we all pile into this Jeep, pull the top down. I'm driving because between Phil and I'm the one that knows how to drive in the snow. FYI, it's winter time, middle of the winter. It's so freaking cold. Oh my gosh, I've never experienced cold like that before in my life. And I'm from Buffalo, so I have experienced cold. This was next level. And so I get into the Jeep, I'm driving. He's kind of poking out of the Jeep at the top because we've got the top off. He's got a FLIR, he's got night vision, and he's got something else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but some other thing that we can try and track stuff with. And then our 2 camera guys and our director sitting behind us. We've got the whole thing loaded up with GoPros. Thank God, because that's what actually caught it on camera. Because our camera guys were not prepped. I mean, they were prepped, but everybody was surprised by this. Nobody expected this to happen. So it was like your typical thing where people say, well, why wouldn't you get that on camera? Well, it's just happened so out of the blue. You're just never ready. You're just never freaking ready. It's so annoying. So anyway, we are all piling up. I decide we're going to do like a loop around this whole area, right? Who knows what we'll see? Maybe we'll get lucky. We'll be further away from all the activity and we'll have a better view of the night sky. It's called the UFO campground for a reason. Let's go check it out. So that's what we do. And we're driving along, and this area, this stretch of road that we go down is basically nothing as far as the eye can see. It's like flat cow grazing area. There's really not that many trees. There's a few here and there, but not a ton. And also it's covered in snow. That's important because it's all flat and you would be able to see prints if anybody was running through the snow. And also the snow would slow them down. So if they were trying to run away and hide, you'd most likely still be able to see them.
Right.
Anyway, so we go down and we're driving along. It's got to be like 3 a.m., 3:30. Super, super early. And I see this dude walking along the side of the street, like shuffling along kind of in between the snow and the gravel. And I tell Phil to sit down, and you can see all this in the show as well. I tell Phil to sit down because I'm thinking we're the ones that look crazy. Like, think of the getup we're in right now. Like, we look crazy. Here's this poor man walking at 3 a.m. in the middle of the snow. Like, I don't want to scare this guy and or maybe get shot.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, sit the hell down, Phil. Like, let's try to look as normal as possible as we drive past this man. So we do that. We drive down, and we pass him, and as we're passing him, it's like time slowed down. It was, at least for me, it was really weird. It was that feeling like when you're getting in an accident and all of a sudden it's just like you're just like walking through molasses or something. Like, you can just, time slows down. And I turn and, we both turn and look at him as we're passing. He's on Phil's side of the road, and he makes the hitchhiker sign. And I see the details of his outfit and his hood and everything, but I realize I'm not really seeing a face. It's just black. It's just like void. There's nothing there. And then it finishes, and we drive past him, and Phil and I kind of just sit in silence for a hot second. And then Phil says, did you see his legs? Did he have hairy legs? And that kind of snapped me out of my little mind zone. And I was like, oh my God. And then you hear our director go, what the fuck? And I'm like, and so what you don't see is they start saying, Jessica, turn around. And I'm like, no. And they're like, turn around. I am freaked out. I have done all of these investigations all over the freaking place. Sorry, I'm like getting all hot and bothered about this. All over the place. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not turning around. This is the first time I'm like legitimately scared, like truly scared about like a paranormal thing. I'm like, no. And they're like, turn around, Jessica, it's your job. I'm like, oh no. So I throw it in reverse, and this all happens within seconds. It's not like I'm already down to the end of the road. This is just like, we maybe went like a couple feet. That's it. So I spin it around. I come back. The guy's gone. In fact, before I even spun it around, I checked in the rear view mirror and I couldn't see him. And it didn't freak me out that much then that I couldn't see him. Like, I didn't think he had disappeared yet. I thought, oh, well, he probably hid, or my mirror got bumped or whatever, because Phil was messing around up there, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really occur to me that he's gone until we turn around, we go back. I mean, it's literally just, a couple feet, and he's nowhere to be seen, like nowhere. And there's nowhere for him to go. And even if he hid behind something, we would have still have seen, because we busted out the FLIR. which is like the thermal imaging cam. We busted out the night vision goggles. Nothing showed up on night vision. And even if he had ran and hidden something, right? And let's say, even if he did that, the snow covered up his footprints, which it wouldn't have been that way, but let's just say they were.
Right.
He would have still gotten a heat signature from where he had just stepped. And we got none of that. Nothing. We would have been able to see his breath on the thermal. Nothing. We didn't see anything. He was gone. And what they didn't show in the show, and I don't know why, unless maybe we got a bad image of it or something, but we actually all got out of the car and were checking along the side of the road where he was walking in the snow, like where the berm meets up. And there were no boot marks there at all, only hoof prints, like deer prints, like split prints. Right. I was like, oh my God. So we are freaking out. Like, oh my God, what the heck? He's just like, we saw this guy, and Phil's like, what? This makes no sense. And I'm like, the fact that he's saying that to me is like, are you kidding me? Oh my God, this is like real. And that's not even the end of how everything screws up. Do I still have time?
Go for it.
Okay, so then we were like, so now we're like, oh my God, like, let's just go back. Let's just go back. So we all pile into the car. We head back towards Vernal, and so that we can all just crash for the night because it's been hours. And as we're driving back, in the middle of the road is this gigantic, freshly killed coyote. And what's weird is that there's no footprints up to where it was. There's no skid marks on the road from something that hit it. It's like this thing literally had been, there's no marks on the body of the coyote at all. Like nothing. All that you can see is the fact that it has like fresh blood kind of coming out of its mouth. And it literally looks like it was placed perfectly in the middle of the road as like almost like bait. And we fell for it because then I pulled over and we were like, we got to move the carcass. Like, if for no other reason, we don't want another car to hit it. You know, it is snowing outside. What if somebody spins out, blah, 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 blah. And also, like, it's a beautiful animal. Let's just at least give it a little bit of dignity.
Right.
So the guys I stay in the car. The guys get out. They start dragging it off to the side of the road. And that's when we hear whoop, whoop, because the police pulled up behind us. And we're like, because we look insane, are like, what are you guys doing? And we explained what we were there for and this, that, and the other thing. And that the coyote had been in the road. We were moving it to the side. We hadn't hit it, which I promise you we didn't. It was something for it. But it was just odd that, yeah, we hadn't even passed anybody on the road for like the entire time that we were driving. So it just, I can't really explain it. You can come up with a couple of different variations, but yeah, it just seemed weird. So then that just basically freaked us out even more. So then we finally get to the hotel. The police let us go. We get back into the car. We make it to the hotel, and all of us are on different floors. And so everybody goes to their respective floors, and I'm walking down my hallway towards my room, which is down at the end. And there's these sconces along the wall so that you can see obviously where you're going. And every time I pass one, it sounds like somebody flicks the glass in the sconce, like almost like a bell. And I'm thinking, well, that's really weird. Then I hear whispering and giggling kind of behind me, and I look, but there's nobody in the hallway, so that's a little weird. And I'm trying to justify all this stuff, right? Like maybe I'm walking down the hallway and I'm shaking. I'm the only one here. And so it's extra quiet. And this sound happens all the time because when you walk by these things, you shake the wall a little bit. And I'm just noticing it now because I'm by myself. And the whispering and the giggling is probably somebody from another floor, and it's coming up through the floorboards and blah, 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 blah. Like I'm just justifying all this stuff.
Trying to, yeah.
Trying to. And so then but you know, I'm an investigator. And so I'm like, well, I'm still in investigation mode. So I start going by and clinking all of the sconces with my own finger to try and mimic the sound, like even get it close. Totally not close at all. So then I try to go to the ice machine to see, well, is the ice machine making this dinging for some reason? Like if you push a button, absolutely not. Ice machine sounds awful. It's not the one making the little bell sound. So I'm like, well, it's got to be the elevator, like the elevator button when you open it up, you know, bing, you're here. A totally different sound. It wasn't the elevator. And now I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. Oh, darn. And I'm like, oh, no. So I start walking back because like there's nothing I can do. And I get to my room and I lock it and I'm kind of freaked out and I get it and I'm getting ready for bed. And I'm like, oh man, I'm a little scared tonight. And I get a text and it's from Phil and he's like, hey, are you still up? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, I'm really scared. Can you come down and have a beer with me? I don't want to go to bed yet. I'm like, yeah, sure, man. I'll meet you in the lobby. And I hang up with him. And immediately after getting his text, I get another text and it's the sound guy. And he's like, hey, are you still up? I'm super scared. Do you want to grab a beer in the lobby? I'm like, yep, already got my way down. We're all freaking out. The entire crew was getting messed with and all freaked out. So everybody went down to the lobby for like a beer or two to kind of calm down. We finally are all so tired that there's no other option than to just pass out and crash. So we finally fall asleep. And then the next morning, so two different stories in the next morning. There's Phil and I, and then the crew. The crew goes back out to where we were the previous night so that they can get B-roll for establishing shots. And as they're on their way out, they pass that point in the car, in the Jeep, because they needed the camera car. They passed that point in the car where the coyote had been laid on the road. And the minute they hit that spot, the whole car shut down, like completely shut, like just stopped moving, turned off and wouldn't turn on again, like was dead, like totally dead, like makes no sense, like dead. Right. And to the point where they had to get a tow and get a brand new car from the rental company. And the rental company did a bunch of tests and they're like, oh, we can't, I have no idea why this happened. We're like, yeah. So then as that's happening to them, Phil and I are getting ready to meet up with them later so we can shoot these scenes. We're hanging out with each other and he comes to me and he goes, Jess, what the heck was wrong with you last night? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like after we had beers, I went to bed. He's like, why were you moving? Because, okay, so FYI, sorry, I should have started with this, but we all have rooms on top of each other, you know, like they're all stacked on the different floors. And so he was below me. And he goes, why were you moving your hotel furniture at like 6 a.m? I was like, Phil, you were out of your mind. We didn't even go to bed till like 5. I'm not going to spend time rearranging, you know, the Homewood Suites furniture at 6 a.m. Like, that's not happening, my guy. And he's like, I swear to God, it sounded like you were dragging furniture around your room. And then I started hearing, and then I had a weird dream where somebody was talking to me in a foreign language. And I called up, I texted or called, can't remember what, but got a hold of our director and was like, we need to change the whole objective of the show to Skinwalkers, talk to our whole crew, get interviews with our whole crew, and like go and talk to this Native American elder, Larry Sasquatch, who had showed us these petroglyphs and these UFO things, but he had also brought up the hairy man / Bigfoot and was like, hey, Larry, can you please come on here and help us? Because we're getting messed with. We're getting messed with and we're all freaking out. And so Larry was very kind and agreed to let us come to his house. He said, we're going to do a traditional cleansing ceremony and ask this thing to leave you alone. You can't record it because this is like a legit personal private ceremony. But yes, I'll help you out and we can talk about it a little bit before and a little bit after. And so that's what he did. And that's what we did. And so we went out there and had everything cleansed, including all of our equipment and all the people working on the show. And and shifted at least the first half of the show then became about Skinwalker. And then the second half became the UFO stuff that they originally wanted. But yeah, that was by far, I have not had a full-on follow you back to your place incident until then.
Creepy. And yet you still keep going out there to show what a professional you really are, Jessica.
I don't know if it's professional or just dumb, but I'm like down to do it either way.
Yeah. Well, very cool. The show begins airing October 29th. They're going to show all 3 parts back to back to back, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check out Bigfoot Took Her on Discovery, and we will be talking to Jessica. Let's schedule this up so like a day or two after it's all over, we can come back and talk. All right?
Yeah, absolutely. You just let me know when.
Always. Thank you so much, Jessica. Great to catch up with you, and great stories.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Always a pleasure. Great to see her. I'm glad we're finally able to connect and have Jessica on the program. And for this documentary series, check it out. Man, this is what we live for, right? The paranormal and true crime coming together in one strange little mix. And Jessica Chobot is here to walk us through that whole thing. And now you saw the pain in her face as she was trying to hold back on all the good nuggets. Because again, when we sign these agreements to do these TV shows, we can't spoil it. We can't give away anything, and even something we think may be the most benign of evidence, they get very upset about. They want us to keep it quiet so that you tune in and check out the whole show. So we got some great little teases from Jessica tonight. Go check it out. I'll get her back on hopefully the week after it airs so that we can go more in depth on this case as well. And I appreciate you all for tuning in. Don't forget, brand new episode of Paranormal Mysteries is going to air this Friday on Stream Beacon TV. We only have 2 episodes left, folks. This Friday and Halloween, you get to watch our season finale. This week, we're on the hospital on College Hill, where we have some very unusual, very frightening experiences. And then next week, we're off to the Ura Shrine, and that's in Tennessee. That is our season finale and an episode that left a very deep and indelible mark on everybody involved. Somewhere out there, beneath the dark canopy of pines, something unknown seems to be stalking the woods. Maybe it hides because it's hunted, or maybe it hides because it remembers what it did. The story of Teresa Beers isn't finished, not while unanswered cries echo through the woods, and investigators like Jessica keep chasing the truth into the tree line. So keep your lights low, your curiosity high, and never forget, some legends aren't born. They're buried in the collective mind of your friends, relatives, neighbors, and community. So until next time, may the darkness of this world be just a little brighter with the information that we share here each week on our Paranormal 60.